Good morning, students. Welcome you all once again in the live virtual revisionary classes of Board of Studies of ICAI. Friends, my name is Alok Garg, and today I'll take you through with the revision of a very small standard, which is related party disclosures, Friends, as I told you, there are four accounting pillars. Okay, there are four pillars of accounting, which is recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure. And this standard, if you will look at the name, the suffix of this standard is related party disclosures. So this standard talks about the disclosures, okay? Disclosures of related party transactions. So we are going to talk about the relevant disclosures of related party under Indian accounting standard. Friends, in our accounting standard, we have AS 18. In our global standard, which is IFRS, we have IAS 24. And in Indian parlance, we have Ind AS 24, right? So there is no major difference between Ind AS and IFRS standard, right? There are differences, but there are limited differences, not major differences, okay? So what is the objective of this related party transaction? What is the objective? Why this disclosure related standard has come? This disclosure related standard Ind AS 24, this standard focuses more on the governance, right? In the listed companies, if you have looked at, so while the Indian accounting standard talks about your disclosures of related party transaction in the notes to accounts of the financial statement. Ind AS is related to the financial statements, okay? Companies Act also provides lot of guidance for the approval of related party transactions, okay? For the disclosure of related party transactions, approval of related party transactions, Companies Act also provide guidance. SEBI LODR also provide guidance on the approval of the related party transaction by the board of director, by the shareholder, okay? And the filing of the related party transaction means these related party transactions are such an area which is always on the radar and the eyes of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SEBI regulations, right? I mean to say stock exchanges, Securities and Exchange Board of India, and of course from the government. Why? Why? Because because a transaction between the related parties, right? One entity can influence another entity to enter into a transaction between the related parties, okay? Right? So friends, we'll talk more about this. This is a governance related standard, I would say, less accounting because no accounting is given in this standard. In this standard, only disclosures are given, okay? And hence it is more of a governance related standard for any company. If there is if there is a related party transactions, that company has to follow the guidance of the Companies Act. If it is a listed company, it has to follow the guidance of the SEBI LODR regulations, SEBI regulations also, and of course the company has to comply with Indian accounting standard. Friends, the objective of this standard is to ensure that an entity's financial statement contain the disclosures with respect to what? Related party relationship, related party transactions, outstanding balances with the related parties, and commitment with the related party. Friends, this standard talks about the four aspects. Number one, name of the related party, right? So name of the related party is covered here, okay? Name of the related party, relationship with the related party, like he is my brother. Who is he? What's his name, right? So Mr. X is the name. And what is a relationship? The relationship is relative. The relationship is relative in terms of Indian accounting standard. But which kind of relative? Brother, right? A relative of a person, which is brother of the KMP, for example. So related party, name of the related party, relationship with the related party. You have given a name, you have given the relationship. Now you have to provide the related party transactions, okay? If the transactions has happened during the year, for example, a parent has given a loan to the subsidiary which was refunded back to the parent by the subsidiary during the year. Will there be any outstanding balances? Saminathan, will there be any outstanding balances? No, there will not be any outstanding balance, right? But is there a transaction? But whether this transaction exists during the year, yes, this transaction existed during the year. The parent has given a loan and the subsidiary has refunded the loan during the year. The loan was square off, and they always used to do this. So what they do, this subsidiary took the loan from the parent on 2nd of April and they refund the loan on 29th of March or 30th of March. So this loan never comes into the balance sheet of subsidiary or balance sheet of the parent, right? So that is why the standard not only talks about the outstanding balances, the standard talks about the disclosure of related party transactions also, right? So it doesn't matter you square off loan on the last day of the year and you took the loan on the first day of the year, doesn't matter. It will also come into the related party disclosure. Why? Because once you provided the name of the related party, relationship with the related party, now you have to provide the transactions with the related party as well as outstanding balances with the related party, right? Name plus, okay, and outstanding balances with the related party. And the last is commitment with the related party. Commitment, okay. While you have not entered into a transaction, but you have raised a PO to the related party. You have entered into a commitment with the related party. So this is also equally important. Commitments with the related party is also important, right? So friends, the disclosures are necessary so that users' attention could be drawn to the possibility that financial statements may be affected by such related party relationship and other items as mentioned above. Okay, right? So objective we understood. The objective is to provide the disclosures. Which disclosures? Name of the related party, relationship with the related party, transactions with the related party, outstanding balances with the related party, and the commitment with the related party. Okay, right. Now, RPT compliances. Why? Why it is very, very, very important? As I told you, that relationship influence the transaction between the reporting entity and the related party. Friends, let me give you a classic example. There was a subsidiary company and the turnover of the subsidiary company was 100 crores. Okay. This subsidiary company wants to take a loan from the bank. Okay. This subsidiary company wants to take a loan from the bank. And the bank requirement is that subsidiary should have a minimum turnover of 500 crore for granting this loan. So parent who has a full control of the subsidiary, parent told just do one thing, sold 400 crore worth of goods to me because we have to get the loan from the bank. Okay, why we should deploy our funds if tomorrow the default will be there, if the losses will be there, the bankers money will get lost. Why should our money should get lost? So the parent told subsidiary that issue invoices worth 400 crores to me. Okay, because it's a parent subsidiary relationship, it's more like a family matter, parent subsidiary relationship, right? So because it's a parent subsidiary relationship, there is no risk to the subsidiary that ki paisa aayega nahi aayega because parent is controlling. Okay, so this subsidiary raised the invoices to the parent for 400 crore rupees. Okay, and this parent deducted the TDS from the subsidiary. For the subsidiary payment, subsidiary will claim the TDS. Okay, so basically it's a kind of a highly manipulated transaction and highly structured transaction. Okay, so the subsidiary revenue went up to 500 crore rupees. Subsidiary has applied for the loan and subsidiary got the loan from the bank. Very simple, right? So now in the next year, what happened? Because this was just an arrangement. The parent was never intended to purchase the goods and services from the subsidiary because parent was in no need and subsidiary was also not supposed to make a sale to the parent. So in the next year, what happened? In the next year, this parent returned the goods to the subsidiary. So the actual transaction has not flown. So the goods were lying in the warehouse of the subsidiary and the parent has raised a debit note or the subsidiary has raised a credit note to the parent, and this is how in the next year the transaction got settled. Now, my dear friends, please tell me, this transaction of 400 crores, which has been arranged overnight, and in the next year this has been returned and square off once the loan has been availed. My dear friends, please tell me, can this transaction be happened? Can this kind of transaction, the without any contract, with this 400 crore rupees of 400 crore rupees of sale, can this be made to an unrelated party? Yeah. Can the unrelated party deduct the TDS of, let's say, 40 crore if it is 10% to this subsidiary? Of course, no. Of course, no. Right? Of course, no. So, friends, this relationship always influence. This relationship always influence the. This relationship always influence the transaction between the related party and the reporting entity. Right? In between the related party and the reporting entity. So that is why it is very important to do the RPT compliances from the governance perspective, in terms of from the governance perspective, in terms of taking the approvals, okay, in terms of taking the approvals, in terms of, you know, in terms of disclosing these transactions and outstanding balances with the related parties in the financial statement notes to accounts. Related party relationship impacts the transaction with the unrelated party also. A Limited is into the business of manufacturing of a special product, of a raw material, right, which is a raw material for many industries. B Limited, B Limited is an entity. So B Limited procure the raw material from C Limited, and all these are independent parties. A Limited acquired B Limited. Now A Limited becomes parent of B Limited. A Limited controls B Limited. A Limited took all the decisions of the relevant activities of the B Limited. Now A Limited told B Limited, please don't make any purchases. Please don't make any purchases from the C Limited. A Limited told to B Limited. Okay. So friend, this is how this unrelated transaction, the unrelated party got impacted, right? So by having an influence from A Limited, B Limited stopped buying the goods from the C Limited, right? So this related party transaction at times impact the transactions with the unrelated parties also. Third, better corporate governance. My dear friends, as I told you, this disclosure of related party transactions, this entire gamut of related party governance, it also ensures better corporate governance, right? True and fairness of financial position and performance of the entity, and it also helps in taking informed decision to the stakeholders. Okay. So these are the reasons why RPT compliances are very, 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 very important. This standard is applicable. This standard is applicable, my dear friends, in identifying related party relationship and transaction. Sir, we understood that name of the related party has to be provided as a disclosure. Relationship has to be provided. But now the question comes, which related party relationship and which kind of transaction has to be disclosed? Sir, if a company, if two company has common directors, if two company has common independent directors, you are aware all these listed companies are required to have independent directors, right? So I am an independent person. I become an independent director in Bharti Group company, Bharti Airtel Group company, right? And I also become an independent director, in the Reliance Group company. Whether Reliance and Bharti, these are the related parties? No. Reliance is Ambani Group company and Bharti is a Mittal Group company. So if I am the independent director on the board of Reliance and Bharti, can I? So whether these two companies become relative just because I am the KMP, because I am on both the board. So just because I myself as an independent director is on both the board, can these two companies become a related party? No, these two companies cannot become a related party, right? These two companies cannot become a related party. Okay. So friends, this standard help us in identifying the related party relationships and the transactions. Identifying related party relationships and transactions, right? This standard helps in identifying outstanding balances, including commitment between entities and the related parties. Between entities and the related parties, okay? Between the entity and its related party, right? This identifying the circumstances in which disclosure is required. This help us in identifying the circumstances in which disclosure is required, determining the disclosures to be made, right? So friends, this helps in identifying related party relationship and transaction, helps in identifying outstanding balances including commitment between related parties, identifying the circumstances in which disclosure is required, identifying the disclosure to be made. Okay, so these are the applicability in terms of related party transactions. Okay, now let's come to the topic, who is a related party? Who is a related party? Two person can be related party. Number one, natural person. Number one, natural person. What is natural person? What is natural person? Who can breathe, who can walk, who can breathe, right? A natural person means a human being. A human being can be a related party. Okay, a human being can be a related party, or an artificial legal person. What is meant by artificial legal person? A natural person and an artificial legal person. What is meant by artificial legal person? An entity, okay? An entity can be a related party, okay? Artificial legal person means an entity which has a separate identity, which has a PAN card, which has a CIN number, which has a registration number, which has a PAN number, okay, GST number, for example. So artificial legal person, okay. So a related party can be a person or can be an entity. It can be a person or it can be an entity, right? Friends, a related party is a person or entity that is related to the reporting entity. That is related to the reporting entity. Okay. A related party is a person or entity which is related to the reporting entity. Which is related to the reporting entity. So now the question comes. That who is a reporting entity? A reporting entity is an entity which is disclosing the, which is reporting the financial statement, which is reporting these transactions in the notes to accounts of the financial statement. That is known as a reporting entity, right? And who is a related party? So a person can be a related party to this reporting entity, or an entity can be a related party to this reporting entity, right? For example, a CEO of the company, a MD of the company, a managing director and chief executive officer of the company, whether he will be a related party to this company, whether a CEO or managing director will be a related party to the reporting entity. Yes, because CEO oblique managing director is a KMP. He is a related party. Okay. A Limited has a control over B Limited. Whether A Limited is a related party to B Limited. Yes, A Limited is a related party to B Limited because A Limited is a holding company of B Limited. A Limited is a holding company of B Limited. Right? A Limited is a holding company of B Limited. Right? So friends, just a minute. Yes. So we understood that a related party could be a person, it could be an entity. It could be a person, it could be an entity. Okay. So what is a related party transaction? Related party transaction is a transfer of resources, services, or obligation. Transfer of resources, services, or obligation between a reporting entity. Transfer of resources. Related party transaction is a transfer of resources, services, or obligation between a reporting entity and a related party. Okay. So for example, if somebody is transferring a resources, transferring a goods, transferring a asset to another party, who is of course a related party, transferring a services to another party, who is a related party, and transferring the obligations to another party, right? For example, I have taken a loan and I have transferred this loan obligation to my brother. I am a related party to my brother. So whether this is a related party transaction, answer is yes. I have taken a loan from the bank and then I told bank, not myself, my brother will repay this loan. Okay. So transfer of resources, services or obligation between a reporting entity and a related party, regardless of whether a price is charged or not. Okay. Regardless of whether a price is charged or not. Okay. Purchases or sale of goods, right? Finished or unfinished. It is example could be sale and purchase of goods, raw material, finished goods, purchases or sale of property and other assets. These are just examples. Rendering or receiving of services, leases, transfer of research and development, transfer under license agreements, and settlement of liabilities on behalf of the entity or by the entity on behalf of that related party. As I told you, as I have taken the example. Okay. So friends, these are the examples of the related party transaction: transfer of sale and purchase of goods and services, right? Giving or taking a space on rental basis, okay? Transferring of research and development, license agreement, royalty agreements, settlement of liabilities, okay? So my dear friend, this standard Ind AS 24 was taught in a single class, okay? In 3 hours. And today we are also going to revise this standard in a single class. So those who have not covered this standard earlier, they have an opportunity to revise, complete, understand, refer this standard in this class as well, right? While it is a LVRC, live virtual revisionary class, but I will complete this standard in this class also, because this standard is not very big standard. This standard is a small standard, okay? And we have one full class on this standard. We will go through with some multiple choice question also. We will go through with some case studies also, and we will understand each and every related party transactions. Okay, great, great. So friends, now first we will discuss the person who will be a related party. First we will understand which person can be a related party, which person can be a related party. Okay, so my dear friends, let me take you on the Excel file. I hope my Excel file is visible to everyone. Friends, we discussed a related party can be a person, a related party can be an entity. Okay, a related party can be a person, a related party can be an entity. Okay, so in my word file I have not covered the person, I have covered the entity wala part. Okay, let's cover the person wala part from this PPT. A person or a close member of that person's family. Friends, you know, in our accounting standard, what was the word? In our accounting standard, the word was the relative. In our accounting standard, the word was the relative. What is the word which is used in Ind AS 24? Close member of that person's family. Close member of that person's family. Close member of that person's family. What is meaning of close member of that person's family? The meaning is relative. The meaning is relative. Okay. So we use the word relative in our accounting standard. In Ind AS 24, the word is close member of that person's family. To cut a long story short, it is known as a relative. Okay. A person or a relative of that person means a person or a relative of that person is related to reporting entity. RE means reporting entity. Is related to a reporting entity if that person has control or joint control over the reporting entity. If that person has control or joint control over the reporting entity. Saminathan has a control over ABC Limited. Over ABC Limited means Saminathan has acquired 70% stake. Saminathan has acquired 70% stake of ABC Limited. Right? Saminathan has acquired 70% stake of ABC Limited. Now, my dear friends, since Saminathan has acquired 70% stake of ABC Limited, right? So Saminathan controls ABC Limited. Yes or no? Yes. He has more than 50% control. He has more than 50% stake. So Saminathan controls ABC Limited. Now, the question is, if Saminathan controls ABC Limited, whether Saminathan is a related party to ABC Limited? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. If Saminathan is a related party to ABC Limited, whether relative of Saminathan will also be a related party to ABC Limited? Yes. The relative of Saminathan, his parents, okay, his spouse, his children, okay, his siblings, brother, sister. So his relative will also become a related party to ABC Limited. Okay. So a person or his or her relative is related party to the reporting entity if that person, if that person control or joint control over the reporting entity, if that person has a control or joint control over the reporting entity, right? Saminathan has a joint control over the PQR Limited. So Saminathan and his relative will become the related party to the PQR Limited. Is that clear to everyone? Yes. Is that clear to everyone? My dear friends, what is the nomenclature? What is the word which is used in what is the word which is used in Ind AS? Is it relative word which is used in Ind AS? No, the word relative is not used in Ind AS. Okay, the word relative is not used in Ind AS. The word close member of that person's family, close member of that person's family is used in Ind AS. There is a reason behind it. Close member of that person's family. There is a reason behind it because even the living partner, okay, is also covered in Ind AS, right? Yes. So what is the first? First, that person should have a control or joint control. First, that person should have a control or joint control. Okay. So if that person has a control or joint control over the reporting entity, the person and the relative of that person will become the related party to that entity, to that reporting entity. Okay. So friends, then if that person has significant influence, if that person has significant influence over the reporting entity, significant influence, right? We know if there is a control, the first entity will become a parent, another entity will become a subsidiary. If there is a joint control, the first entity will become a venture, other entity will become a venture. If there is a significant influence, the first entity will become investor, the other entity will become associate. Okay. So a person or a close member of that person's family is related to reporting entity if that person has significant influence over the reporting entity, right? If that person has significant influence over the reporting entity. Okay. So for example, Saminathan has invested 25% shares in MNO Private Limited. By virtue of having 25% stake, as per Ind AS 28, Saminathan has a significant influence. What is a significant influence? When an entity or a person holds 20% or more directly or indirectly in a company, so there is a deemed significant influence. Okay. So Saminathan holds more than 20% stake, which is 25% stake in MNO Private Limited. Whether Saminathan has a significant influence over MNO Private Limited? Answer is yes. He has a significant influence over MNO Private Limited. Yes. So if Saminathan has a significant influence over MNO Private Limited, so he is a related party to MNO Private Limited, which is a reporting entity. Whether his relative will also become a related party? Answer is yes. His relative will also become a related party to the MNO Private Limited. Okay. Third, that person is a member of the KMP of the reporting entity or of a parent of the reporting entity or of the parent of the reporting entity. Saminathan is, so Saminathan is a CFO. Saminathan is a CFO of ABC Private Limited. ABC Private Limited. So Saminathan is a KMP of ABC Private Limited. Okay. So if Saminathan is a KMP of ABC Private Limited, he is a related party to the ABC Private Limited. If he is a related party to the ABC Private Limited, whether his relative will also become a related party? Whether his relative will also become a related party? Answer is yes. His relative will also become a related party. Okay. His relative will also become a related party. Or Saminathan is a CFO. Saminathan is a of CFO of ABC Limited, and ABC Limited is a parent. ABC Limited is a parent holding company of ABC Private Limited. Of ABC Private Limited. Okay. Of ABC Private Limited. Saminathan is a CFO of ABC Limited, and ABC Limited is a parent of ABC Private Limited. And ABC Limited is a parent of ABC Private Limited. Okay. So if he is a CFO of the parent of the ABC Private Limited, he is, of course, for ABC Limited, he is the KMP, right? So he is the related party and his relatives are also the related party, as well as since he is the KMP of the parent of ABC Private Limited, so he becomes the related party to the ABC Private Limited also, right? So if a person is the KMP of the parent of the reporting entity, then that person is a related party to the reporting entity also. Is that clear? Is that clear? Not clear? Is that clear? Okay, very good. Very good. So this is the related party concept, my dear friends, from the perspective of the person. So let me put this concept on the Excel file also, so that when you will have this Excel file, you will have a complete, kind of examples and the complete concepts, right? A related party relationship with the person. Okay. So number one. Okay. So first of all, person. Person means natural person. Natural person means human being. Human being. Right? Saminathan, should I write this on the Excel file for the complete notes? Yes. It's a natural person, human being. Okay. Then, friends, close member of that person's family. Person's family. For the sake of simplicity, we can call it as a relative. Okay. Okay. The word the word the word used in the standard in Ind AS 24 is close member of that person's family. Close member of the person's family, but for the sake of simplicity, we can call it as a relative. Okay, only for the purpose of understanding. But the word uses in Ind AS 24 is a close member of that person's family. Okay. Okay. A relative word has not been used in Ind AS 24. Okay. So number one, right? If a person is having a control or joint control over the reporting entity, then that person and his relative. Again, I have used the word relative, which is not used. Relative means close member of that person's family. If a person is having a control or joint control over the reporting entity, then that person and his relative will become a related party, to that reporting reporting entity. Right. Example. Mr. Ram is holding 80% stake, 80% stake in ABC Private Limited. In ABC Private Limited. Okay. In ABC Private Limited. So whether Mr. Ram, ABC Private Limited, suggest the related party of ABC Private Limited. So here Mr. Ram controls, here Mr. Ram controls ABC Private Limited by virtue of holding stake, and hence Mr. Ram and his relative are the related party to ABC Private Limited. Right? Okay, Saminathan? Sounds good? Second, Mr. Ram is holding 50% stake in ABC Private Limited. Okay. So instead of holding stake, let me write as a controlling stake. Okay. It will help you in future. Controlling stake. Okay. So Mr. Ram is holding 50% stake in ABC Private Limited and having a joint control over ABC. Okay. So here Mr. Ram is having a joint control, and hence Mr. Ram and his relative, Mr. Ram and his relative are the related party to ABC Private Limited. Mr. Ram is having a joint control and hence Mr. Ram and his relative are the related party to ABC Private Limited. Okay, right. Now, second, another example. So these are the two examples we discussed. Now the second part. It will also become a related party if what? If a person is having a significant influence. Okay. So even I can write if a person is having a control or joint control, or shall I write significant influence here only, Saminathan? Significant influence, right? And I'll put the example here only, right? Yes, Saminathan, that sounds good. है ना? This control, joint control, significant influence, these are the concepts of consolidation also. Yeah. So another example, Mr. Ram is holding 25% stake, in ABC Private Limited and having a significant influence over ABC. Suggest the related party of ABC Private Limited. Here Mr. Ram is having a significant influence, and hence Mr. Ram and his relative are the related party to ABC Private Limited. Okay, right? Is that clear? Is that clear? Now, second aspect. Now, Saminathan, this file becomes complete file. If you refer only this Excel file, your job is over. Okay. Second, if a person is a KMP of the reporting entity or a KMP of the parent of the reporting entity, right? Then that person and his relative, guys, again I'm reiterating, relative word is not used. Which word is used? Close member of that person's family, right? I'm just using a shortcut here. That person and his relative, will become, become a related party to that reporting entity, right? Mr. Ram is a KMP. Mr. Ram is a CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CEO of ABC Private Limited. Okay. Mr. Ram is a CEO of ABC Private Limited. Suggest the related party to ABC Private Limited. Okay. Example. So here Mr. Ram is a KMP, and hence Mr. Ram and his relatives are related party to ABC Private Limited. Okay. Mr. Ram is a CEO of PQR Limited, who is a parent company of ABC Private Limited. Suggest the related party to ABC Private Limited. Right. Suggest the related party to ABC Private Limited. Since Mr. Ram is a KMP of the parent of the reporting entity, and hence Mr. Ram and his family, Mr. Ram and his relative will also become the related party to ABC Private Limited. Okay. ABC Private Limited. Whether what about the PQR Limited? PQR Limited के केस में क्या होगा? In PQR Limited, Mr. Ram is a KMP. Mr. Ram is a KMP of PQR. Here, Mr. Ram is a KMP of PQR Limited, PQR Limited, and hence Mr. Ram and his relative are related party of PQR Limited. So PQR Limited. So in this case, in the above case, Mr. Ram and his relatives are the related party to PQR as well as ABC. Okay, right, Saminathan? So nobody will get confused. I have note. Okay, I have also put this in on my. I've also put this on my Excel file also, right? So now it is complete. Now it is complete. Okay, related party relationship with a person, related party relationship with an entity. Okay. Okay, great. Yes. Saminathan is saying close member of that person family is registered in my mind. I have taken all the example with you, Saminathan. All the example I have taken for you. Yes. Close member of the family, close members of the family, right? Who will be the close member of the family? First of all, who will be the close member of the family? First of all, understand who are our relative, direct relative, our parent, our sibling, brothers and sister, our spouse, our children, right? So who are above us? Who is our creator? Our parents. Okay, our parents. Who is our creator? Our parents, our father and mother. Okay, so parents. When I say parents, I mean to say father and mother. Okay, parents. So first of all, parents above us, mother and father. Okay, then siblings. Siblings means brother and sister. Siblings, brother and sister. So mother and father, number one. Brother and sister, number two. Spouse, number three. Okay, spouse means for husband, wife, husband, and domestic partner also. Friends, this Ind AS is a Western concept. Ind AS means Ind AS comes from IFRS. IFRS is a Western concept. So friends, in Western concept, the domestic partner concept is allowed. I'm not explaining who is a domestic partner, right? But the point is, if someone who is living in a living relationship while he or she has not got married, right, but they are living together, so it can be nomenclated as a domestic partner. So of course, if they are living together as a spouse, but actually they are not get married, so they are not known as a spouse. Legally they are not a spouse, but they are acting as a spouse. Okay, so this is also covered here. So parents, sibling, spouse or deemed spouse. Okay, spouse. Okay, then children, then your kids, children. So children of that person means, for example, Mr. Ram is a KMP of ABC Private Limited. So parent of Mr. Ram, brother and sister of Mr. Ram, then spouse. Spouse means wife of Mr. Ram or domestic partner of Mr. Ram or children of Mr. Ram. Okay, and children of that person or that person's spouse. Now what is meant by person's spouse children? क्या पर्सन के चिल्ड्रन और पर्सन स्पाउस चिल्ड्रन अलग अलग होंगे? Whether children of that person or the wife of that person, children of Ram and wife of and the children of wife of Ram, whether both would be different? Answer is yes, it could be. It could be. Why in this standard it has given separately? For example, Mr. Ram had a wife, okay, and they got divorced. And from the first wife, Mr. Ram had two children and they got divorced. Now, either Mr. Ram has married again or Mr. Ram has not get married. So while they already have divorced, they have separated. So now no more Mrs. Ram is no more a spouse of Mr. Ram. Is no more, right? She is not a domestic partner of Mr. Ram. But the children, are living with wife of Mr. Ram, so those children who are the person's spouse children, or vice versa, if Mr. Ram has married to a person, if Mr. Ram has married to a lady who has already divorced, and Mr. Ram has married to that lady, and that lady has two children already. So these two children does not belongs to Mr. Ram, right? But these two children are the person's spouse children. So they will also become a close member of the family, right? Right? Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear or not clear? So Mr. Ram married with a lady who already has two children. So now those two children who are the person's spouse children, they will also become a related party, or children of domestic partner. Have you understood? Three children are covered here. That person's own children, that person's spouse children, right? So at times, in India, in all normal circumstances, the person's children and the person's spouse children is one and the same thing. Okay, in the normal circumstances, but in Western culture, or even in India, the Western culture has started, it started coming like anything. So person's children, person's spouse children, and person's domestic partner children, they all become the close member of the family, right? Right? So parents, sibling, spouse, kids, children means, and dependent of that person or that person's spouse, dependent of that person or that person's spouse. For example, that if you see the parents, whose parents are covered here, that person's spouse or domestic partner, brother, sister, father, and mother. Only that person's parents and person's siblings are covered here. Person's brother and sister and person's parents are covered here. The spouse or domestic partner, brother and sister, and the spouse and domestic partner's parents are not covered here, right? Right, Saminathan? So if Mr. Ram is a KMP of an entity, only Mr. Ram's parents and Mr. Ram's siblings has covered here. The spouse of the parents of the spouse of Mr. Ram and the sibling of the spouse of Mr. Ram is not covered here, right? So now let's say if the parent of spouse of Mr. Ram, the parent of the wife of Mr. Ram is dependent on Mr. Ram, is dependent on Mr. Ram, or the parent of wife of Mr. Ram is dependent on his wife, means the wife's parents, because the wife is only the daughter of of her parents. She is the only kid of her parents, right? She is the only kid of her parents, okay, of her parents, right? So now the question is whether those father-in-law and mother-in-law of Mr. Ram will be considered as a close member of the family of Mr. Ram. Answer is yes. Why? Because they are dependent on either his wife, Mr. Ram's wife, or on Mr. Ram. Okay. Or domestic partner parents or siblings will also be the close member of the family of Mr. Ram, of that person, if that siblings or parents were either dependent on the domestic partner or on the person, right? Or on the person. Is that clear? Is that clear? So dependents of that person or that person's spouse or domestic partner. I hope it is clear to all of you. I hope it is clear to all of you. Right? Clear? Okay. Now, should I write this? Should I write this on my Excel file also? Saminathan, should I do this on my Excel file? Okay. Close member of that person's family. Person's family. Close member of that person's family. Mr. Ram is a related party to ABC Limited. who who will be related, who else from the close member of the Ram's family, Ram's family will be a related party to ABC. Okay. Now, Mr. Ram is a related party, right? Okay. So here Mr. Ram is there. Here Mr. Ram is there. Okay. Here close member of that person, close member of Ram's family. Who will be covered here? Who will be covered here? So, just a minute. Parents of Ram, right? Parents of Ram. Okay, parents means father and mother. Siblings of Ram. Siblings of Ram means brother and sister, right? Then spouse. Spouse means here wife, because Ram is a person, his wife. Okay, wife. Okay, and domestic partner. और लिखते हैं स्पाउस और डोमेस्टिक पार्टनर, चलो एंड ही लिख देते हैं, एंड डोमेस्टिक पार्टनर. Okay, so these are covered. Then who else will cover? Who else will cover? Children. Children of Ram. Children of Ram, right? Ram. Okay. And children. So children of Ram. Children of Ram. Then children of Ram's spouse means wife. Children of Ram's spouse. Okay. Children of domestic partner. Children of domestic partner. Children of Ram, children of Ram's spouse, children of domestic partner, right? Okay. Then dependents of Ram. If anyone who is depending on Ram, okay, dependents of Ram's spouse, dependents of Ram's spouse, and dependents of Ram's wife. Dependents of Ram's domestic partner. Is that clear? I hope now with this the full clarity is there, right? Okay, every relationship has been covered, right? Right, my dear friends. Okay, so these are the meaning of the close member of that person's family, right? Okay, so that's what I told Saminathan. If somebody who has missed the complete lecture in the full course, he will have a golden chance to read it for the first time and understand it for the first time. Okay, KMP. Who is a KMP? Any person who is having a authority, responsibility for planning, directing, and controlling the activities of the entity, directly or indirectly, including any director, whether executive or otherwise. Means if there is an executive director, non-executive director, independent director, all will come here. Person having authority and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling the activity of the entity directly or indirectly, including any director, whether executive or otherwise, of that entity. Okay, of that entity, right? So who is a KMP? KMP means, so KMP is a person. Who is a KMP? KMP is a person who is having a authority and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling. KMP is a person, right? KMP is a person having an authority or responsibility of planning, directing and controlling, KMP is a person having an authority or responsibility, of planning, directing and controlling of the affairs of the entity. Right. Right. Now, what are the examples of KMP? What are the examples of KMP? Examples of KMP. Examples of KMP are MD, Managing Director, CEO, CFO, right? Executive or non-executive directors, executive or non-executive directors, independent directors, directors, company secretary, etc., right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, is it visible now? Is it visible now? Concept of KMP. Concept of KMP. Right. Okay, friends. So we discussed this in detail. Close member of the person family, concept of KMP. We have covered all these aspects in detail, right? Okay. Now coming back to this. Oof. Is it visible now? Yes, now we are going to discuss the reporting entity. So related party relationship with the reporting entity. Okay. So here we are going to discuss the relationship with the entity, right? So we have discussed there are two type of related party. The first one is person, the second one is entity. So here we are going to discuss entity relationship. With the related party. Okay. Entity relationship with the related party. Here we are going to discuss this. Okay. Right. So friends, this part we are going to discuss with the Excel file again, so that I'll have a lot of examples. Related party relationship with the entity. In the first part we have covered person, now we are covering entity. The first thing, relationship. Both are members of the same group. Two entities will become a related party. Two or more entities will become a related party if they are the member of the same group. For example, parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to each other. Okay. Parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to each other. Both are member of the same group. What is meant by member of the same group? So an entity will be considered as a member of the same group which is a parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiaries, right? So parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary are considered as a member of the same group. And if, so there is a group, there is a group. This circle is known as a group. And in this circle, parent is floating, subsidiary is floating, fellow subsidiaries are floating, okay, fellow subsidiaries, okay. And this is known as, and this is known as group, and this is known as group, okay. This is known as group. This is known as group, okay. So what is a group? It's a combination of parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary. Let's quickly understand with the help of an example. A Limited has three subsidiaries, that is B, C and D Limited. Friends, these examples which you are looking at on your screen, these examples I have written on the Excel file in my full class, okay. This is also more than full class. So A Limited has three subsidiaries B, C and D. A, B, C and D are the member of the same group, right? A Limited is a parent, B, C, D are the subsidiary, and for B, C and D are the fellow subsidiaries. See, A is a parent. Who are the subsidiaries of A Limited? B, C and D, right? For B Limited, who is the parent? A. For B Limited, who is C and D? C and D are the siblings. Siblings means fellow subsidiary. Siblings means fellow subsidiary, right? Fellow subsidiary. So A, B, C and D are member of the same group and hence all are related party to each other. And hence all are related party to each other. Means for A, B, C, D is the related party. For B, A, C, D is the related party. For C, A, B, D is the related party. For D, A, B, C is the related party. Okay. So in the notes to accounts of A Limited, how this related party will be shown in their respective financial statement notes to accounts. In the notes to accounts of A Limited, what is the name of the related party? Except A, kaun bacha? B, C and D. Who is B? Who is B? What is the relationship? What is the relationship with B, C and D? A Limited का relationship क्या है B, C, D के साथ? All these B, C and D are the subsidiaries of A Limited. These are the subsidiaries of A Limited. Now, in the notes to accounts of B Limited, B Limited के notes में क्या होगा? उनके notes to accounts में A Limited is a parent, C and D Limited are fellow subsidiary. They are the siblings. They are the fellow subsidiary. In the notes to accounts, in the disclosure of C Limited, A Limited is a parent, B and D Limiteds are fellow subsidiary. B and D Limited are fellow subsidiary. Okay. B and D are fellow subsidiary. In the notes of D Limited, A Limited is parent of B Limited. B and C Limited is a, so in the notes to D, A is a parent and B and C are fellow subsidiary. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear? Not clear? Very much clear? Okay. Now, the second relationship. One is an associate or joint venture of the other. One is an associate or joint venture of the other, or an associate or JV of a member of a group of which the other entity is a member. So one is an associate or JV of the other, right? For example, A Limited. A Limited has a joint control over the AG Limited, and A Limited has a significant influence over the BG Limited, right? Means this AG is a joint venture. If A Limited has a joint control over AG Limited, what is the relationship of AG and A? A Limited is a venturer and AG Limited is a joint venture. AG Limited is a joint venture. And what is BG Limited? BG Limited is an associate of A Limited. So A Limited has a JV and A Limited has an associate. So one entity is an associate or JV of the other. One entity is an associate or JV of the other. For example, X Limited is having joint control or significant influence over Y Limited. This means Y Limited is either JV or associate of X Limited, right? So X Limited is a reporting entity. In the notes to accounts of X Limited, what is the name of the reporting entity? If X Limited has a joint control over the Y Limited or X Limited has a significant influence over the Y Limited, then in the books of X, कौन सी रिलेटेड पार्टी कौन सी होगी? वाई लिमिटेड। और रिलेशन क्या होगा? एसोसिएट और जेवी ऑफ एक्स लिमिटेड। सिचुएशन नंबर 2, एक्स लिमिटेड इज अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ ए लिमिटेड, बी लिमिटेड इज ऑल्सो अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ ए लिमिटेड। एक्स लिमिटेड इज अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ ए लिमिटेड and B limited is also a subsidiary of A limited. So how many subsidiary of A limited are there? X and B. Two subsidiary X limited and B limited. इतना ही है ना? So A limited की दो subsidiary है ना? X भी है और B भी है. Okay. So let me draw the diagram again so that you guys will not be confused. Right. So friends, this X limited is a subsidiary of A limited and B is also a subsidiary of A limited. Who are the member of the group? X, A and B all are the member of the group, right? Here A limited, it has a subsidiary X and B limited. Okay, X and B. So now, and all these entities are the member of the group. Parent, subsidiary, fellow subsidiary are the member of the group. Now Y limited is an associate or JV of B limited. This Y limited is an associate or JV of B limited. Y limited, either it is an associate or it is a JV, one and the same thing, right? This Y limited is an associate or JV of B limited, and what the relationship says? Number one, if one is an associate or JV of the other, it will become a related party, or an associate or JV of a member of a group of which the other entity is a member, right? So if that person is an associate or JV of a member of the group of which the other entity is also a member, then it will also become a related party. Means if X limited is a reporting entity which is a fellow subsidiary, so in the notes to accounts of X limited, who are the related party? A limited is a parent, B is a fellow subsidiary. Now this Y limited will also become a related party to in the books of X limited. Why? Because X and B are the member of the same group, they are the fellow subsidiary, right? So if a JV or associate, if an entity is a JV or associate of an entity who is a member of a group, then that entity will become a related party to the entire group. समझ में आया? अगर कोई एंटिटी एसोसिएट और जेवी है किसी एंटिटी की, और वो जो एंटिटी है किसी ग्रुप का मेंबर है, ग्रुप का मेंबर है मतलब अगर वो एंटिटी किसी का सब्सिडरी है, किसी की पेरेंट है, किसी का फेलो सब्सिडरी है, तो वो पूरा का पूरा ग्रुप कि ये जो एसोसिएट और जेवी है उस पूरे ग्रुप की भी रिलेटेड पार्टी हो जाएगी, राइट? सो हियर यू कैन सी एक्स लिमिटेड, दिस इज अ associate or JV of B limited which is a fellow subsidiary, so this will also become a related party. For B limited, very simple, A is a parent, X is fellow subsidiary, Y limited is a associate or JV, right? Clear? Is that clear or clear? I hope it is clear to everyone. I hope it is clear to everyone, my dear friends. Yes, it is clear to everyone. Great, great, my dear friends. Both are joint ventures of the same third party. Both are joint ventures of the same third party. Both are joint ventures of the same third party. Means, for example, A limited is a reporting entity, and A limited has a joint control over B, and A limited has a joint control over C. A limited has a joint control over B, and A limited has a joint control over C, right? So this B limited and C limited are related party if they are the joint control, if they are the joint venture of the same third party. So B limited and C limited are the joint venture of the same third party, okay? Same third party. So in this case, for example, Z limited. So friends, here I have taken an example, B and C are the related party of A. Of course, why? Because they are the joint venture of A, and B and C itself are the related party because they are the joint venture of the same third party. They are the fellow venturer. So they are the fellow joint venture. Okay. Now another example. Z Limited has a joint control over X and Y. This means X and Y are the joint venture of Z. So X Limited is a reporting entity in the notes to accounts of X Limited. Who is the related party? Z Limited is a related party who is a venturer having joint control. And Y Limited is also a related party who is a fellow joint venture, means JV in which the Z has the joint control. Friends, Vodafone Group, let me give you a real life example. When I was with the Indus Towers, Vodafone Group PLC, Vodafone Group PLC, okay, Vodafone Group PLC, they have a joint control over the Vodafone Idea Limited. Voda Idea Limited. Have you heard about the name Voda Idea Limited? And this group has a joint control over the Voda Idea Limited. This group, UK group, this company has a joint control over Indus Towers Limited. Indus Towers Limited. Have you heard about Indus Towers Limited? Both these are listed company, right? Both these are listed companies. So these two companies becomes a related party. Why? These two companies become a related party because they are the common joint venture. They are the joint venture of the same third party, and that is why they become a related party. They are the joint venture of the same third party, and hence they become a related party. Okay, Vodafone Idea and Indus Towers become a related party. Okay. So friends, in this case, what is a related party? So of course, venturer is a related party who has a joint control, and the fellow joint venture will also become a related party. Okay. Another one, next one. One entity is JV or of a third entity, and the other entity is an associate of the third entity. Like example which I have taken initially. Okay. For example, A Limited. A Limited has a joint control over the B Limited, and A Limited has a significant influence over the C Limited. A Limited has a joint control over B Limited, and A Limited has a significant influence over the C Limited. So this B Limited is a JV and C Limited is associate. So if one entity is a JV of the another entity, and another entity, if one entity is a JV of the other entity, and the another entity is a associate of that same entity, so these two entity will also become a related party. This B Limited and C Limited will also become a related party. For example, Z Limited has a joint control over X Limited and significant influence over Y Limited. This means X is a joint venture of Z and Y is an associate of Z. X and Y are related parties in this case. X and Y are the related parties in this case. X and Y are the related parties in this case, right? So my dear friends, why X and Y are the related party in the case? Because X and Y are the JV and associate of the same third party. In the above example we have covered, if two entities are JV of the same third party, these two fellow JVs are the related party. Now we have covered, if one is a JV, other is an associate of the same third party, these two JV and associates are related party with each other. Okay. For example, X Limited is a reporting entity. So in the notes to accounts of X Limited, Z Limited is a venturer. But what is the relationship with the Y Limited? Y Limited is an associate of J, associate of my uncle, associate of X uncle, right? Associate of Z, or entity where venturer has a significant influence. This is how you write the relationship here. Is that clear, my dear friends, or this is not clear? Is that clear? Not clear? Manish, Mansa, Saminathan, clear? Yes. Okay. So friends, from the entity perspective, how many relationships we have covered? Again, revision of revision. So from the entity perspective, 4 relationships we have covered. The first relationship, if the entities are the member of the same group, then all the entities are related party to each other. For example, parent, subsidiary, fellow subsidiary. Number two, if an entity is a JV or associate of the another entity, that JV or associate is also become a related party. That JV or associate will also become a related party, right? They will be related to each other. That JV or associate means, matlab, if one entity is a JV of another entity, then JV is a related party. If one entity is an associate of another entity, then associate is a related party, right? That way. Or if that JV and associate, if an entity is a JV or associate of an entity, and that entity is a member of a group, then this JV and associate will be a related party for the entire group, right? And all these examples are here. Then the third relationship, if two entities are JV entity of the same third entity, if two entities are the joint venture of the same third party, then these two joint ventures are related parties, fellow joint ventures. If one entity is a JV of the other entity and one entity is associate of the same third party, same other entity, right? So if two entities are JV and associate of the same third party, then this JV and associate is also related to each other. Okay. Now fifth relationship. And this entity relationship is driving by a person. The entity is controlled or jointly controlled by a person identified earlier. The entity is controlled or jointly controlled by a person identified earlier. Which person we are talking about? Which person we are talking here, my dear friends? Which person we are talking here? Human being we are talking here. You are absolutely right, Saminathan. We are talking about human being. Right. So an entity X Limited, right, is controlled by, an entity X Limited is controlled by or jointly controlled by whom? By the person or by the family of that person. By person or the close member of the family of that person. Okay. Right. For example, Mr. A holds 10% in AG Limited. Mrs. A, wife of Mr. A, holds 15% in AG Limited. Father of A holds 18% in AG Limited. Son of A holds 19% in AG Limited. So what is the total holding? 10 plus 15, 25. 25 plus 18, how much? 43. 43 plus 19, 62%. So Mr. A and his relative jointly combinedly hold 63%, 64% in the AG Limited. 62% in AG Limited. So where Mr. A combined with his family is holding a controlling stake in AG Limited? Yes, he is holding a combined stake in the AG Limited. Mr. A, Mrs. A, father and son, they are holding 15, 10, 19, 12% in BG Limited. So Mr. A along with his family, is holding 15, 10, 25, 25, 20, 45, 44, 44 and 12, 56. So they hold 56% in BG and they hold 62% in AG. So tell me, Mr. A and his relative jointly, they are holding the controlling stake in AG Limited and BG Limited. So whether AG and BG will be a related party? Answer is yes. AG and BG will be related party. Okay, AG and BG will be related party. If the entity is controlled or jointly controlled by a person identified earlier, person and the family of that person. Okay, X Limited reporting entity and Y Limited are related party if Mr. A, who is related to X, also control or jointly control Y Limited. Okay, right. Example. Let's talk about the first example again. Mr. A has a control over A Limited and B Limited. So A Limited and B Limited are also become related party because the same person has control. Okay. Mr. A has control over A Limited and joint control over B Limited. A Limited and B Limited are also become related party because same person has control in one entity and joint control in the other entity. Okay. Right. Or the second part. A person who is having a control or a joint control, Mr. A is having a control or a joint control, right, of the entity, and Mr. A is having a significant influence over the another entity, or Mr. A is a member of the KMP of that entity or the parent of that entity. Means Mr. A has a control over A Limited and significant influence over B Limited. So A Limited and B Limited will also become a related party, because same person who has control in one entity has a significant influence in other entity. Number two, Mr. A has a control over A Limited and Mr. A is a MD and CEO in B Limited. So KMP in B Limited and control over A Limited. So here also A Limited and B Limited are also become related party, because same person has controlled in one entity and the KMP in other entity right? So what we have discussed, my dear friends, we have discussed if A Limited has a control over B and significant influence over C, so B and C are related party. If A Limited has a joint control over B and significant influence over C, B and C are related party. If A Limited has a significant influence over B and significant influence over C, whether B and C will be related party? No, then B and C will not be related party. So if there are two associates of the same entity, two associates will not be related party. But if there is one JV and one associate of same party, that will be a related party. That will be a related party. Okay. So that will be a related party. So let me take one more example. So of joint control also. Mr. A has a joint control over A Limited. Mr. A has a joint control over A Limited. Mr. A has a joint control over A Limited and significant influence over B Limited. So A Limited and B Limited are also become related party, because same person has a joint control in one entity, and the significant influence in other entity, right? Now Mr. A has a significant influence. Mr. A has a significant influence over A Limited and significance over B Limited. So here A Limited and B Limited are not the related party. Okay, because in both the entities, the common party has the significant influence only. Right? I hope this becomes a comprehensive example, right? So my dear friends, now before moving to the next part, which is little bit tricky, I would say, let's have a break, right? So let's have a break, and after the break, we will cover the next part. There are two relationship left with the entity relationship of the related party. We'll quickly cover the disclosure, and we will cover some multiple choice question, and we will cover some question also, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's 8:31 now. So we will start our session at 8:45. Okay. So friends, this is a little complex kind of a relationship, but let me make you guys understand with the help of this example which kind of relationship here it is talking about. The entity or any member of a group of which it is a part. The entity or any member of a group of which it is a part provides. Either the entity provides or the entity which is a member of a group, that group, right? Or the entity, either the entity is providing or the entity is part of a group, right? And any member of that group is providing which services? KMP services. Is providing KMP services. Okay, KMP services. To whom? To the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity. To the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity. Let's understand with the help of an example. Then we will again read this relationship. Okay. Situation number 1. X Limited and Y Limited. X Limited is a parent of Y Limited. Y Limited is a subsidiary of X Limited. And who is the reporting entity in this case? Y Limited is the reporting entity in this case. Okay. Z Limited provides KMP services. Z Limited provides KMP services. Have you heard about virtual CFO services? What is this KMP services? Have you heard about virtual CFO services? Right now, a lot of CA firms, they are engaged in providing the virtual CFO services. Yes? आपने सुना है virtual CFO services? Manish, have you heard about the virtual CFO services? Lot of startups, right? For example, if they will hire a CFO, it will cost them 2 crore, 2.5 crore, 1.5 crore rupees. So what they do? Instead of hiring a CFO, instead of hiring a direct CFO, what they will do? They will engage some CA firms who are providing virtual CFO services. And they will charge, for example, 40 lakh rupee, 30 lakh rupee, 50 lakh rupee. Okay. So these are kind of virtual CFO services. So Z Limited is providing virtual CFO services to X Limited. Okay. Or Y Limited. Z Limited is providing virtual CFO services to X Limited or Y Limited. So if Z Limited is providing virtual CFO services to X Limited or Y Limited, then Z will become related party of Y and X both, right? Y and X both. Okay. So if the entity or any member of a group of which it is a part, it provides KMP services to the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity, right? Or to the parent of the reporting entity. So this entity who is providing a KMP services to an entity or to the parent of the reporting entity, it will become related party to the both the entities. It will become related party to the both the entities, right? Clear? Now, second situation. X Limited is a parent of Y Limited. Y Limited is a subsidiary of X Limited. It is a reporting entity. Now, a subsidiary of Z Limited, which is SJ Limited, subsidiary of a Z Limited. So, which is SJ Limited. This provides KMP services to X Limited or Y Limited. Okay. So, friends, here, what is the relationship? Let me tell you. Here, X Limited is there. Y Limited is there. So Y Limited is a subsidiary of X Limited. Okay. So they both are group. These two entities are the group entities, yes. And there is another entity Z Limited, a subsidiary of Z Limited, which is SJ Limited, right? So there is a Z Limited and there is a subsidiary of Z Limited, which is name is SJ Limited. Okay. So again, this both of these entities are also group. Both the entities are also group, right? Parent subsidiary, fellow subsidiary are form part of the group. So this SJ Limited provides KMP services to X Limited or Y Limited. this SJ Limited is providing KMP services to either X or either Y. It provides KMP services to either X Limited or Y Limited, right? So in this case, Z Limited and SJ Limited will become related party to Y Limited and X Limited, right? If in the last case, this entity was providing the KMP services. In the last case, what we have seen, Z Limited was providing the KMP services to either X or Y, right? For example, if Z Limited was providing a KMP services to X, it will become a related party to X as well as Y. If Z Limited is providing a KMP services to Y, it will become a related party to X and Y, right? Either an entity is providing a KMP services or an entity who is part of a group where another member is providing KMP services. Z Limited is not providing KMP services. So Z Limited is part of a group which includes Z and SZ, and another member who is SZ is providing a KMP services. SZ is providing a KMP services, right? Right. So if an entity is providing a KMP services, or that entity is a part of a group and that group is providing a services, right? Then that entire this group who is providing a KMP services will become related party to that entity or the parent of that entity. Is that clear? ये समझ में आया? So अब क्या हुआ? The entity means Z Limited or any member of the group of which it is a part, which is SZ Limited, provides KMP services. It provides KMP services to the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity. To the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity, right? Right. So that entity or that group will become related party to that reporting entity or to the parent of that reporting entity. Is that clear or not clear? समझ आया या नहीं आया? Manish, can you please respond either on chat box? Is that clear to you or not clear? मतलब फ्रेंड्स, अगर एक एंटिटी है जो केएमपी सर्विस प्रोवाइड करती है, या ये जो एंटिटी है ये ग्रुप का पार्ट है और उस ग्रुप की कोई दूसरी कंपनी केएमपी सर्विस प्रोवाइड करती है किसी थर्ड एंटिटी को, ओके? तो ये पूरा ग्रुप, मतलब ये जैसे जेड एंड एसजेड, ये पूरा ग्रुप रिलेटेड पार्टी बन जाएगा किसका? रिपोर्टिंग एंटिटी का और पेरेंट ऑफ द रिपोर्टिंग एंटिटी का, राइट? So this is what it is there. Right? So friends, we have discussed these concepts in detail in our full class also, but here we have also covered this in detail. Okay. Right? Clear? I hope it is clear to everyone. So we have covered this part. We have covered this in detail, my dear friends. Okay. Now, some special consideration. Associate includes subsidiaries of associate and JV includes subsidiaries of joint venture, right? So if there is an associate, there is a JV and they have the subsidiaries also. So this is included. So this associate includes subsidiary of associate, JV includes subsidiary of JVs, okay? And you need to look at the substance of the relationship and not merely the legal form to be considered for evaluating the related party relationship, right? The following, very, 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 very important. The following are not considered as a related party. Which one is not considered as a related party? Two entities, if they have a director or other member of KMP in common. Two entities, if they have a common director or common KMP. For example, Manish is an independent director in Bharti Airtel Group and in the Nestle Group. So whether Nestle and Bharti Airtel Group will become a related party? Answer is no. Just because they have a common independent director, common KMP, it does not become a related party. A member of a KMP of one entity has significant influence over the another entity. See, you know what is the combination? So okay, Saminathan, I'll cover, once I'll complete this, I'll cover that part also. So friends, you know what is the combination of KMP become a related party? For example, if A Limited or A person A is a KMP in one entity and person A has a control or joint control on the another entity, so then these two entities will become a related party. Person A has a joint control or control over the A Limited, and person A is having person A is a KMP in B Limited. Then A and B are the related party. But if person A has a significant influence over the A Limited and person B is a KMP, then it will not be a related party. Okay, right? Then these two entities will not be a related party. So KMP is a related party, significant influence is a related party, but these two entities will not be related party. What it's saying? A member of the KMP of one entity has significant influence over the another entity. So those entities will not be a related party. Is that clear? हमने पढ़ा था ना? हमने पढ़ा था या नहीं पढ़ा था? हमने क्या पढ़ा था? अगर उस मेंबर का सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस है तो रिलेटेड पार्टी वो मेंबर हो जाएगा, वो पर्सन हो जाएगा. बट अगर किसी एक पर्सन का सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस है दूसरी रिलेटेड पार्टी दूसरी कंपनी में और उसी पर्सन वही पर्सन केएमपी है दूसरी कंपनी में तो रिलेटेड पार्टी नहीं होगा, राइट? And you know, we have discussed this also. Forget about the KMP. We have discussed two significant influence also, na? Mr. A has a significant influence over A Limited and significant influence over B Limited. So A Limited and B Limited are not the related party because in both the entities, the common party has the significant influence only, right? So at least in one entity, it has to be control or joint control, right? Clear? So you can see for being a related party, in the first case, this has a control. In the second case, control or joint control. In the third case, control and significant influence. In the fourth case, control and significant influence. In the fifth case, control and KMP. Control and KMP or joint control and KMP. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Now, again moving. So simple, two KMPs are common. So a KMP is common in two entities. These two entities will not be related party. A director is common in two entities will not be related party. Two venturer having joint control over a joint venture. Two venturer. For example, government and Adani, they created a JV entity and they are developing a airport. Are these entities related party? Whether Adani become a related party to the government or government become a related party to Adani? No. Simple two venturers. Have you understood venturer and venture? Venturer means who invest. Venture means in which the investment is happening, right? So when joint venturer is a upstream entity, venture is a downstream entity. Okay, समझ आया ये? Joint venturer and the venturer and the venture. Have you understood it? Right. Two venturers having joint control over a joint venture. Provider of finance, trade union, public utility, department, agency of the government that does not control, joint control or significant influence the reporting entities. My dear friends, if State Bank of India has given a loan of 5,000 crores, will it become a related party? So finance providers, okay, public utilities, government agencies, department, income tax department will become a related party. Whenever they will come, you have to entertain them. It will become a related party. No. A customer, supplier, franchisor, you have a large customer. Whether that customer will become a related party? No. Franchisor, distributor, general agent with whom an entity transacts a significant volume of business simply by virtue of resulting economic dependence, right? It will not be a related party, right? Okay, so these transactions are not the related party. Friends, what is meant by associate includes subsidiaries of the associate and JV includes subsidiary of the JVs. For example, A Limited, has a significant influence over the B Limited, right? So who is B Limited? B Limited is an associate of A Limited. So B Limited is a related party to A Limited. And who is A Limited? A Limited is an investor in B Limited. So A and B are related party. Okay. So B is an associate of A Limited. Now, B has a subsidiary, C Limited. So this C Limited is also considered as an associate entity of A Limited, right? So A Limited has two related party. One, B Limited, who is an associate of A Limited, and the subsidiary of associate will also be considered as a associate, right? So A Limited has two related party, B Limited and C Limited. Okay, right? Is that clear, Saminathan? Okay, this is what I was telling you. Okay. Disclosure requirement, parent subsidiary relationship. Friends, sir, if an entity has a let's say if an entity has a 500 subsidiaries, or let's say 500 related parties, so whether that entity is required to show the name, relationship, transaction, so whether the name, relationship, all the disclosure requirement has to happen with all the 500 subsidiaries, with all the 500 subsidiary, associate and joint venture, or all the 500 companies. What would you say? What will you say? What's your view? If a company has 500 related parties, where the related party disclosures has to be, whether the related party disclosure has to be made with all the 500 entities, where the related party disclosure has to be made with all the 500 entities. What do you say? So, Manish, no. First of all, if there is a parent subsidiary relationship, doesn't matter whether there is a transaction or no any transaction, the name and the relations has to be disclosed. The name and the relationship has to be disclosed if there is a parent and subsidiary relationship, right? But if it's not a parent and subsidiary, then only those entities name and relationships and transaction needs to be disclosed with whom the company has the transactions, with whom the company has the transactions. All the entities name relationship is not required to be disclosed, right? For parent subsidiary, ultimate parent, so the name and the relationship has to be disclosed. But for the other entities, only if there is a transaction, it is required to be disclosed, otherwise no. For the KMP compensation, what is the disclosure requirement? Short-term employee benefit, post-employment benefit, other long-term employment benefit, termination benefits, and share-based payment. The breakup of the KMP compensation has to be bifurcated into 5 parts for the purpose of disclosure. And what is going to be disclosed in the related party transaction? Name of the related party, relationship with the related party, name, relationship, right? Transaction, outstanding balances, commitment, okay, guarantee, provision for bad debt, if you have created a provision for bad debt with the related party. So these items are required to be disclosed. Okay, name, relationship, transaction, outstanding balances, commitment, guarantees, provision for doubtful debt. Okay, these items are required to be disclosed. Okay, right? Who should make separate disclosures? Parent. So separate disclosure is required for parent. If you have any transaction with the parent, separate disclosure. The transaction with the parent has to be shown separately. Entity with joint control or significant influence over the entity, right? So if there is an entity, means venturer. So parent is a holding company. Parent is a holding company. Here we are talking about venturer and investor, right? Subsidiaries, associate, joint ventures, KMP, other related parties. Subsidiaries, associate, joint venture, KMP, and the other related parties. Okay, other related parties, right? So these are the entities which will make a separate disclosure. Arm's length transaction. Friends, the related party has to be on an arm's length basis. Means if the transaction would have incurred with the, if the transaction would have entered with the unrelated party, what would have been the price which is going to be charged with the unrelated party? The similar price is getting charged with the related party. This is known as an arm's length price. This is known as an arm's length price. Okay. Sir, outstanding balance is on what date, sir? Transaction done within the year, but year-end balance is not there, then you are not required to show outstanding balances. Outstanding balances has to be shown. Outstanding balances has to be shown only at the end of the year. Okay, end of the year. Now let's take an example. An entity was a subsidiary of another entity up to 30th September 2025, and this reporting entity is preparing and presenting the financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2026. Tell me, this transaction with the subsidiary was only for the first 6 months, and the company has made a sale. This reporting entity has made a sale to this subsidiary entity for 50,000 rupees. So let me write this question, okay, and let me ask them. Question: A Limited, a reporting entity, is preparing and presenting the financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2026. Okay. A Limited has sold goods for rupees 1 lakh every month to its subsidiary B Limited. The relationship with the subsidiary ends on 30th September 2025. Okay. Provide the full disclosures required to be made in line with Ind AS 24. Ind AS 24. Tell me, how should we do the disclosure? Tell me. First of all, name of the related party. Manish. Just see here. Name of the related party. Relationship with the related party. What is the name of the related party? What is the name of the related party in the books of A Limited? क्या शो करेंगे? What is the name of the related party? B Limited. B Limited up to 30th September 2020. See how I'm writing. B Limited up to 30th September 2025 subsidiary. B Limited up to 30th September 2025 subsidiary. Right now, disclosure of transaction and outstanding balances. Okay. Third disclosure. So let me write one more part. At the end of the year, that is 31st March 2026, the outstanding balance is rupees 25,000, is rupees 2.5 lakh receivable from B Limited. Yes. Tell me, how should we disclose this transaction? First of all, particulars. Okay. Particulars, sale of goods. Okay. So particulars, and here the transaction with subsidiary has to be shown separately. Subsidiary. So what amount I'll show? What amount I'll show here in the table? What is my sale of goods transactions? What is my, so here I'm showing transactions, okay, transactions, and here I will show you the outstanding balances. What is the transaction with the subsidiary, friends? So every month it is 1 lakh rupee, in the year it is 12 lakh rupee. So how much amount I need to show here? Sale of goods, how much sale of goods I have to show here? 6 lakh rupee. 6 lakh rupee, because when it was subsidiary in the first 6 months. In the first 6 months, in the capacity of the subsidiary, only 6 lakh rupee worth of goods have been sold out, right? In the capacity of the subsidiary, 6 lakh rupee worth of goods have been sold out, right? Then sundry debtors. So how much outstanding balances will show? Will show with the subsidiary? Zero. This is zero. Friends, whether on 31st March the relationship was exist as of subsidiary? No, it was never exist. No relationship is there. So you have to show the related party transaction when it was a related party. If you are showing 2.5 lakh, why you are not showing 12 lakh rupee in the transaction? Why you are only showing 6 lakh rupee? The transaction was happened for 12 lakh rupee. So why you are only confined to 6 lakh rupee? So you have to show the transaction till the time when it was a related party, and the outstanding balances has to be shown on the balance sheet date. So outstanding balance is not required here. Guys, have you covered the consolidation Ind AS 110? Have you covered the consolidation Ind AS 110? Yes, of course, yes, because you are attending the revisionary class. A Limited is a reporting entity and it has a subsidiary, B Limited, which is only for the 6 months. Okay. And on 30th September, relationship finished. Now you are preparing consolidated financial statement of A Limited, and you have a B Limited financial statement also. Tell me, to what extent you will consolidate B Limited into the A Limited? Tell me. Will you consolidate balance sheet of B Limited to A Limited in this case? No. Why no? Because at the end of the year, relationship does not exist between a parent and subsidiary. Will you consolidate P&L of B Limited with A Limited? Will you consolidate P&L of B Limited with A Limited? Saminathan, you have to revise Ind AS 110 again. You have to consolidate the transactions up to 6 months. So the 6-month P&L of B Limited is required to be consolidated in A Limited. So whenever there is a disposal of subsidiary during the year, so till the cutoff date, they are preparing the financial statement. And when I say financial statement, profit and loss, they are preparing the P&L and cash flow. Wherever it is for the year ended, I mean to say periodic balances. So they are preparing the P&L cash flow till the cutoff date, and they are consolidating it in the consolidated financial statement. So the 6-month transaction, I'm not saying related party transaction, 6-month P&L of B Limited is required to be consolidated in A Limited. Please solve this question today. Please solve this question today from Ind AS 110 whenever there is a disposal of a subsidiary during the year. Okay, Manish and Saminathan? Okay, Manish, have you understood what I have told you? So balance sheet is not going to be consolidated because balance sheet is as on date. But the periodic P&L is going to be consolidated till the date when it was a subsidiary. Okay? Okay. So have you understood this related party disclosures now? Is that clear? Related party disclosures are clear to all of you? Yes. Related extract of related party disclosures H per Ind AS H for Ind AS 24. Okay. So with this example, it is very much clear also. Okay. Yes. Friends, now let's have some MCQs to check your understanding. Let's have some MCQs. Which of the following is the primary objective? Which of the following is the primary objective of Ind AS 24? Which of the following is the primary objective of Ind AS 24? To prescribe recognition of related party transaction, recognition of a related party transaction, to ensure disclosure of related party relationship and transaction, to measure fair value of related party asset, to consolidate related party financial. What is the right answer? Of course, to ensure disclosure of related party relationship and transaction. B is the right answer. Okay, B is the right answer. Two entities, sorry, as per Ind AS 24, a related party relationship exists when two entities have common customer. Even if an entity has the largest customer, relationship does not exist, related party, right? One entity control or has significant influence over another. Entities share the same auditor. Saminathan is auditing. Saminathan is the chartered accountant and auditor of A Limited and B Limited. So both the entities have the same auditor, they become the related party. No. Entity operate in the same industry. Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea. They operate in the same sector. They become a related party. No. Right? So two entities have common customer, same auditor, same industry. No. Which is the right answer? One entity controls or has significant influence over another. Right? B is the right answer. Okay. So B is the right answer. Which of the following is not a related party under Ind AS 24? KMP, close family member of KMP, major supplier with no control or influence, subsidiaries of the reporting entity. Yes, C is the right answer. Major supplier with no control or influence will be considered as a not to be considered as a related party. Major supplier, major customer, they are not a related party. Just a minute. Yes. Close member of the family of an individual include. Close member of the family of an individual include. I have covered this into a tabular format. Include only spouse and children. So parents and siblings are not there. Only spouse and children are only covered. The first point. Second point is spouse, children, dependents, and others who may influence the individual. Spouse, children, dependents, and others who may influence the individual. Right? Only parent and siblings. All relatives irrespective of influence. Which is the right answer? Only spouse and children, not the right answer. Saminathan and Manish, which is the right answer? This is not the right answer. Only parent and sibling, not the right answer. All relatives irrespective of influence. Whether father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, whether these are also close member of the family. Saminathan, if they will dependent, then only, right? So B is the right answer. Spouse, children, dependents, and others who may influence the individual. Answer. So what is the most appropriate answer? The most appropriate answer is B, right? It is B. Which of the following transaction must be disclosed under Ind AS 24? Ordinary course transactions with unrelated parties. Will you disclose the transaction with unrelated parties in the related party disclosure? Of course, no. Related party transaction, even if conducted at arm's length. So the related party transaction has to be conducted at arm's length basis. So if the related party transaction is at arm's length basis, is it required to be disclosed or not to be required to be disclosed? Of course it is required to be disclosed. ऐसा थोड़ी है कि रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन अगर आर्म्स लेंथ में नहीं होगी तो ही डिस्क्लोज करेंगे, फिर तो किसी भी लिस्टेड कंपनी में कोई डिस्क्लोजर ही नहीं आता. कोई आपको आके बताता कि ट्रांजैक्शन इज नॉट ऑन आर्म्स लेंथ? They all are getting it at arm's length. Otherwise, it's the non-compliance of Companies Act, SEBI and ODR also. Transaction with government department, is it a related party? Internal transfer within the same entity? No. Transfer between two branches? No. So B is the right answer. Related party transactions, even if it conducted at arm's length basis. Even if it conducted at arm's length basis. Right, my dear friends? Right? Okay. I hope it is clear. Yes. Yes. Ind AS 24 requires disclosure of. Ind AS 24 requires disclosure of only monetary transactions with related parties. Only monetary transactions with related parties. Both monetary and non-monetary transactions with related parties. Only loans and advances to related parties. Only remuneration paid to directors. You remember commitments, guarantees. Whether commitment and guarantees are required to be disclosed as a related party transaction. It is transfer of resources, goods and services. Okay. So both monetary and non-monetary transaction with the related parties. Which of the following is true regarding government related entities under Ind AS 24? Have we discussed the government related entities aspect? Have we discussed the government related entities aspect? Yeah, we have not discussed the government related entities aspect. Okay, so let me discuss the government related entities related aspects. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, allow me a second. Okay, so I think it is afterwards. One thing I want to show you, exemption to government related entities. Yes. Okay. A reporting entity is exempt from the disclosure requirement in relation to related party transaction, outstanding balances, and commitment with. Right. If there is a reporting entity, that entity is exempt from the disclosure requirement of what? Related party transaction, outstanding balances, and commitment. Only name and relationship can be given. With a government that has controlled or joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity. Right. With whom? With whom? So a government that has control, joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity. So means ONGC Limited, I'm just taking an example. ONGC Limited is a subsidiary, joint venture or associate of a government. Means government has a control. For example, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Takes example of Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. DMRC. So the central government, the government of Delhi and the central government, they are holding a stake in the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. So government is having a control, joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity. Then this reporting entity is not required to disclose the transaction with the government and the outstanding balances with the government. Or and another entity that is related because the same government has control or joint control or significant influence over both the reporting entity and the other entity. Or this DMRC is entering into a transaction with let's say the other entity in which the central government and the state government has a control, right? So another entity which is related. Why? Because the same government has a control over the two entity. So these two entity will become a related party. So just because of government, this two entity will become a related party. So the transaction with the government and transaction with this entity is not required to be disclosed. It is exempted. It is exempted. Okay. However, in case the reporting entity opts to apply for the exemption, right? If they are taking the exemption, right, they have to disclose the name of the government, the nature of the government relationship with the entity. Okay. So they have to disclose the name, they have to disclose the relationship. The only thing is transaction and outstanding balances are not required to be disclosed, right? So that it enables the user of the entity's financial statement to understand the effect of the related party transaction on its financial statement. The following information in sufficient detail, for example, nature and amount of each individually significant transaction. Okay. So to enable the user to understand the effect of related party transaction on the financial statement, the following information in sufficient details: the nature and amount of each individually significant transaction. For other transactions that are not significant individually but are significant when aggregated, either a qualitative or quantitative information, right? Okay. So they have to disclose the name, relationship, okay, and they have to disclose the nature of the transaction, okay, nature and amount, okay. So amount, it can be collectively. Thus, the reporting entity is expected to apply its judgment to determine the level of detail which it can disclose. To enable the reporting entity to arrive at a decision, itself consider the closeness of the related party relationship, transaction is significant or not, whether the transaction is carried out on non-market terms, whether these are outside the normal day-to-day business operations such as purchase and sale of business, whether they are disclosed to regulatory or supervisory authorities, whether they are reportable to senior management, whether they are subject to shareholder approval. So these things are required to be disclosed. These things are required to be disclosed. Okay. So following is the extract from the financial statement of the listed entity. See the real life example. The following is the extract from the financial statement of listed entity Cochin Shipyard Limited. It's a government entity. For the financial year 21-22 with respect to related party disclosure as per Ind AS 24. What they have discussed, what they have written: nature of transaction. Transaction with other related parties. As CSL is a government company under the control of Ministry of Shipping, the company has availed exemption from detailed disclosure under Ind AS 24 with respect to related party transaction with government and government related entities. However, as required under Ind AS 24, following are the individually significant transaction and balances with government and the government related entities. Secondment to subsidiary, investment in entities issued by subsidiary, investment in right issue in subsidiary. So the transaction which are not in the ordinary course of the business, the transaction which are significant individually. So they have given the disclosure of only those transactions. Okay. Right. So this is the only, they have given only the transaction of those items. Okay. So this is about the government entity disclosures. So now the question comes, which of the following is true regarding government related entities under Ind AS 24? No disclosure is required for government related entities. Limited disclosure exemptions apply for transaction with government related entities. Full disclosure is mandatory without exception. Only financial transaction need disclosure. What is the right answer? B is the right answer. Limited disclosure exemptions are there, right? Key management personnel includes only director of the company, director and senior executives of the company, only directors of the company, director and senior executives authority over planning and control, shareholder holding more than 10% external consultants. So of course, KMP means director and executives with authority over planning and control. B is the right answer. If an entity is an associate of entity B, if an entity is an associate of entity B, then entity A and entity B are related parties. Entity A and B are unrelated. Only if they share common director, only if they transact, they are related. A is the right answer, of course. A is the right answer. Okay. Disclosure under Ind AS 24 must include, the word is must include, nature of related party relationship, amount of transactions, outstanding balances including commitments, all of the above. Which is the right answer? Which is the right answer, my dear friends? All of the above? That is the right answer? Yes? Yes, all of the above is the right answer. All of the above is the right answer. So have you enjoyed this 10 MCQs? Have you enjoyed this 10 MCQs to test your knowledge? Yes or no? Have you enjoyed these 10 MCQs? Right? I will share these MCQs also with all of you. Okay? Yes? Manish, have you found these MCQs useful? Manish? Okay, great. Just a minute. Yeah, friends, do you have any question? So Manish and Saminathan and Mansa, do you have any question? Do you have any question on the related party? Your specific question on the related party? Any area which you are not able to understand? While I have covered the entire related party standard, right? With lot of examples, not few example, with lot of example in every situation, okay? Yes. So in case of government, what happens, right? So first of all, since government being a very sensitive in nature, so basically, if the government has a control, joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity, so they have given the exemption of some related party disclosure. If government has a control or a joint control, government will become a related party. If government will become a related party, right? So of course, the disclosures are required to be given. The disclosures are required to be given. Now, being a government entity, they have given some exemption. For example, they told that what you can do, you can only give the name and the relationship with the government and the government entities. For example, uh, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation Limited, as I have taken the example, central government and the Delhi government. So these two government has a joint control on the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation Limited. It's a company. DMRC Limited is a company. So now the transaction which they are happening, the transaction which is happening between DMRC and the state government and the central government, okay, these transactions are not required to be disclosed. Transaction and outstanding balances. What is required to be disclosed? For example, name of the related party, Delhi government. Delhi government. Relationship having a joint control. Venturer, okay, one venturer or having a joint control. So the transaction and outstanding balances, as far as the transaction and outstanding balances are concerned, you are only required to disclose those transactions which are significant in nature. If some individual transaction which are significant, okay, right, not every transaction. If the transactions are in the ordinary course of business, right, not significant, for example, not required to be disclosed. But if there are some investment, if there is some NCD which are issued, right, some kind of unusual transactions are there which are significant in nature, those transactions can only be disclosed, like I have shown you in the example of Cochin Shipyard Limited. Okay. Second, if the transaction is happening between the two reporting entities and these two reporting entity become a related party, why? Because the government is the control in other entity also, government is the control in this entity also. So even the transaction with the other government control entity is not required to be disclosed. Only name and relationship is required to be disclosed, and the unusual and significant transactions can be disclosed. Not the every and the entire transaction has to be disclosed. Okay. So this is what exemption is given with respect to the government related entities, I hope it is clear to everyone. Yes. Is it clear? Not clear? Clear? Yes. Now, let's discuss one illustration from ICAI study material. I hope ICAI study material is visible. Is it visible, guys? Mr. X has 100% investment in A Limited. Mr. X has 100% investment in A Limited. His 100% investment means Mr. X controls A Limited. He is also a member of the KMP of C Limited. So Mr. X is having a control in A Limited and Mr. X is a KMP of C Limited. So Mr. X has a control in one entity and KMP of another entity. These two entities will become a related party. Entity A Limited and C Limited will become a related party. B Limited has 100% investment in C Limited. And this B Limited has a 100% investment in C Limited. So B Limited has a control over C Limited. And A Limited is a KMP of C Limited. Okay. Examine related party relationship from the perspective of C Limited for A Limited. For A Limited, right? So in the books of C Limited, whether this A Limited is a related party to the C Limited, whether this A Limited is a related party to the C Limited. So B Limited has a 100% investment in C Limited, right? So who is the KMP of the C Limited? Mr. X. Mr. X is the KMP of the C Limited, right? And the KMP also controls 100% in A Limited. So this C Limited and A Limited will become a related party. C Limited and A Limited will become a related party. Of course, yes, right? You can see there. Mr. X is having an investment control over A Limited and Mr. X is a KMP of C Limited. Okay. B Limited has a 100% investment in C Limited. So A Limited is related to C because Mr. X control A Limited and is a member of the KMP of C Limited, right? Now second part. Examine related party relationship from the perspective of C Limited for A Limited. Okay. So they are relative, means they are related party. If Mr. X is a KMP of B Limited and not C Limited. If Mr. X is a KMP of a B Limited. And who is B Limited? B Limited is a parent of C Limited. Right. So if this Mr. X, he is not the KMP of C Limited, he is the KMP of the parent of C Limited and he has a control over A Limited. Then whether C Limited and A Limited are related party, answer is yes. If a person is having a control in one entity and a person is a KMP of the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity, then the entity in which he is controlling and the reporting entity both will become a related party. Yes. So in this case also, Mr. X has a control over A Limited. Mr. X is a KMP of B Limited. B Limited is a parent of C Limited. So in this case, still A Limited will be related to C Limited, right? Third, will the outcome in A and B would be different if Mr. X has a joint control? Sorry. I hope my this thing is visible or not visible. This, guys, this is visible or not visible? I think it has been closed. Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me open that study material again. Okay, friends. Third, will the outcome in A and B would be different if Mr. X has a joint control over A Limited? So instead of control, it is a joint control. Then whether the answer will be different? Answer will not be different. If it is not a control, if it is a joint control, still answer will be same. Still, no, still A Limited will be related to C Limited, right? So the control and joint control, the same rule apply. Okay. So now, will the outcome in A and B would be different if Mr. X has a significant influence, not the control, not the joint control, then whether C and A will be related? Tell me, I told you na, the combination of control and KMP, joint control and KMP will be there, but the combination of significant influence and KMP will not be there. I have written this in your Excel file also, right? Okay, no related party. Okay. So yes, A Limited is not controlled by Mr. X. Therefore, despite Mr. X being KMP of C Limited, A Limited having a significant influence of Mr. X will not be considered as a related party of C Limited, right? Is that clear? I hope it is clear to everyone. Yes or no? Yes or no? Clear? Very much clear? Great. Great, my dear friends. So friends, if you have any question, we'll be happy to answer that question also. So let's quickly do this illustration number 3 also from the perspective of person. Person as an investor. Mr. X has an investment in A Limited and B Limited. Examine when can related party relationship be established from the perspective of A Limited's financial statement. So Mr. X has an investment. Manish, you purchase 100 share of Reliance. Will you become a related party of Reliance? 100 share could not be even 0.001%. Okay. So Manish, will you become a related party to the Reliance? No. So Manish, when you will become a related party to the Reliance Industries Limited? When you control, when you joint control, when you control, when you joint control, when you have a significant influence, when you become a KMP, right? Then only it can be, then only you can be a related party, right? So friends, when can a related party be established in the A Limited financial statement? If Mr. X control, joint control A Limited, B Limited, okay. If Mr. X controls or joint controls A Limited and A Limited, so B Limited is related to A Limited when Mr. X has control, joint control, significant influence over entity B. First of all, look from the entity perspective. Look from the entity perspective. Mr. X has an investment in A and B. So when Mr. X will become a related party? When Mr. X control, joint control, have a significant influence and KMP. Then Mr. X is related to A Limited. Likewise for B Limited also same. Now, when this A and B will become a related party, when A controls or joint controls, right? And A also control or joint control B also. So Mr. X control or joint control A, Mr. X control or joint control B. Then these entities will become a related party. Or Mr. AX controls or joint controls A but having a significant influence over B. Then also it become a related party. Or Mr. X controls or joint controls A and having a KMP in B Limited. Then also it become a related party or a vice versa. Right? So what is the combination? Control, 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 joint control, control, joint control, control, joint control, significant influence, control, joint control, KMP. So these are the combination. These are the combination. Okay. Will A Limited and B Limited, will A Limited and B Limited be related party? Mr. X only a significant influence over both A and B. This I already covered in my Excel file also. So Mr. X has a significant influence over B. Mr. X has a significant influence over A and over B. So whether A and B will related party, A and B will not be a related party, right? Great. So my dear friends, my dear students, I have covered this entire related party standard in detail, right? With so many examples, right? So, but when significant influence and joint venture, yes, it is a related party. So friends, we understood related party relationship and the disclosure in this standard. With this, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you have enjoyed the session, guys, and thank you, Saminathan, for the detailed feedback. So thank you so much for such a wonderful appreciation and feedback, Saminathan. Right? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you. Yeah, session is over. Thank you. Bye. Great.